November was an interesting reading month. Near the beginning, I didn't think I was going to finish many books at all, as I got swept up in this 1,000-page book that we will talk about first thing, and I wasn't really interested in reading anything else. But then we had Thanksgiving break, and I had a lot of travel time in which to read, so I think all in all it evened out to a fairly normal reading month for me. So let's talk about the classics and the sci-fi books I read in that period. Okay, we gotta start off by talking about a book that I finished in the fastest time I have ever read a 1,000-page book. Yes, we're talking about The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson's sci-fi masterpiece. See, I picked it up because the ebook was free on Amazon, and I was really curious to read some of Brandon Sanderson's adult work because I had recently read Steelheart. Now, Way of Kings was not on the fantasy TBR list that I shared with you guys in July, but I thought, I'm curious, and I have it, I'll just slip it in. The thing with ebooks is that you can't really tell how long it is. I wasn't aware I was getting into a 1,000-page epic. But this thing drew me into its web so quickly and so securely. I finished it in like a month and a half. If you look at my status progress in Goodreads, it's all like, wow, so good, and how is this so good? This book has some of the best world development I've ever read. It has kind of 3 parallel storylines. My favorite is definitely Kaladin's storyline. The Dalinar storyline bored me a tiny bit at first, but then really drew me in as well. This book was so perfect and so soul-enriching that it earns only my second, I repeat, only my second 5-star rating for a book on a first read-through for the year of 2014. The only other book to receive this honor this year was Cress in the Cinder series. This means that I thought this book could not have been any more perfect, and I know this is going to remain one of my favorite books of all time. Okay, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This was on my Classics TBR that I shared with you guys a couple months back. I'll link to it below. This book was, I know, a revolutionary look at mental illness for the 1960s, and also it's a semi-autobiographical Sylvia Plath life story. I thought the imagery of depression as this jar that settles around you was very thought-provoking. I don't think I connected emotionally with this book to the same level that many other people have, but I'm still glad to have read it as a classic that has had some real influence on literature. Okay, let's talk about my book club selection for the month of November for my in real life book club, the Hollywood Booklets, which was the first 15 lives of Harry August by Claire North. This book came out in April and still has less than 5,000 ratings, so it qualifies as a little-known book. I went into it a bit leery, not another time travel book. I've been burned before by this subgenre, but you know what? This was a fresh take. Surprisingly, the explanations for the mechanism of the time travel and the world building were perhaps some of the most engaging parts of this book. Made you think and engage the little gray cells. So, see, there's certain people when they die, they go back to their birth and relive the same life over again. The only thing that changes is their actions and the actions of others who are also stuck in a loop of living forever and repeating their lives over and over again. It's a fascinating premise. The story drags a little in the middle, but not enough to really derail the book. I really liked this one. Okay, so what's the longest book you read this year? Was it good? The worst is when you spend the time to read a huge-ass book and it ends up being the biggest waste of time. So I hope that did not happen to you this year.